Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to Tammy's Stitches. My name is Tammy, and greetings from Maine, everyone. This is my small little corner of the World Wide Web where I discuss my cross-stitching and whatever else I can get my little hands onto. If you are new here, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And if you are a regular viewer, thank you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate you all. So, let's get started, shall we? I did a few things this week. I still have today and tomorrow for my Stitchy Bingo. So I'm not quite done with that, but I do have my November, I think it's Never Forget bingo card all set and ready to go. I will probably be doing a small plans video that shows what I will be stitching on for my bingo challenges in November. I do have my weekly focuses all set. I also have my weekly focuses for December all set, but those are subject to change. I have a few picked out for my Deck the Halls bingo. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing, but we'll see. We will see. So, let's get started, shall we? This is FlossTube number 113, and today is October 24th, 2025. Can't believe October is almost over. My goodness. I don't have any finishes or FFOs, but I did do a couple of starts. I'll move this stuff out of the way, because I don't need this stuff quite yet. That's not it. Yes. All right. On my Stitchy Bingo, I needed to it got this one got spun for, and it is Goth Girls Bellatrix, which I needed 200 stitches for. Everything in the Stitchy Bingo across the board is 200 stitches. When I do my weekly focus pieces, that's 200 stitches a day. And it's just 200 stitches on everything right across the board, unless I'm doing Wrestling Roundup or something else. Oh, come on, where are you? Ah, there you are. This is Goth Girls Bellatrix, and this is from Lizzie's Little Loops on Etsy. And I did 200 stitches on this. If I can find it. Which one is this one? Oh, here it is. Oh, no, this is the one I'm looking for, right? Yes. I started this on October 18th, 2025. That's Sally. Ugh, come on. Oh, here it is. I got a lot of black thread in here. Because that's basically what I'm doing, is just black. And I'm doing this on a 8 count fabric of the month. And I'm using the called for DMC. Now, my goal is to get 1,500 stitches in this, but to complete it, I need 3,135, and I have completed 200, and I am at 6.38%. And I'm starting them all with the frame. And they all have the same annual the same Gothic style frame, just different. Like this one has a skull right here. Wednesday's has something else. Winifred's has something. Sabrina's, so on and so forth. So there is that. So I got 200 stitches on that one, and then the other one I started was my all-time favorite. And that is Sally. And as you can see, her ornate frame has like what would be categorized as possibly Jack the Pumpkin King, or the pumpkin down below, or I don't know. But so I also have Wednesday in here. There's the card for Sally. Okay. Now, this is Goth Girl Sally, and I started this on October 20th, 2025. It's by Lizzie's Little Loops as well. I'm doing this on an 18 count Valor from Pictures Plus. And I'm using the called for DMC. Now, my goal, like the other one, was 1,500, and this has 3,344. I've completed 200, and I am at 5.98%. You can't really make out the frame too well, but because it's very, the black is not helping this particular situation. So, but it's 200 stitches, and you can't finish unless you start. So these ones are gonna go right there. Okay, so I got those two done, and those were both for my October Spooky Bingo. Now, the other thing that I worked on for my Spooky Bingo was Spooky Season. This was last Friday's spin, and I'm actually loving this one. I'm thinking about maybe doing a couple weekends that are just monogamous, which means I maybe pick two and work one on Saturday all day and then one work on Sunday all day. That's my thought behind that. I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. There's the amount of people who are doing different things like last year the big thing was Monopoly. This year, Monopoly was 2025's big thing, and then it fizzled out. And then going on to 2026, I think the new phase of stitching is going to be picking so many YouTubers or FlossTubers, and when they you pick a couple of them, and when they post a where is this? Let's go this way. Right there. Good Lord. This is spooky season. I am working on the pumpkin section. Like I was saying, people are now, you know, picking so many FlossTubers, and whenever they post something, you know, like a Stitch with Me or an episode or whatever, whoever you've picked, they do so many stitches. I'm not doing that. I think, to be totally honest, you know, and I'm probably not going to be very well received by this idea, but sometimes I think, you know, it's kind of a, whoever has the most viewers are the ones that got picked. So it's like a popularity contest, so you're in the clique. And I don't like that. I really don't. And if people want to do it, that's perfectly fine. That's just my opinion. You know, I'm feeling a little... Maybe I'm feeling a little bit too self-righteous. I don't know. I had a really rough concept section with my concept yesterday, so I'm kind of down on everything at this point. But anyway, this is Spooky Season, and it's by Lukovka. I started this on October 9th. I'm using an 18 count Forbidden Fiber Company Fabric of the Month. I'm using the call for DMC. My goal is 5,000, and to complete this, it's going to be 11,374, and I have completed 710 stitches, and I am at 6.24%. That's the bag of the thing. And the 200 stitches goes like done. So you don't have this out for very long. So here's what it looks like. This void right here is going to be the pumpkin. I'm trying to get all this done first. I'm trying to get the background around the pumpkin done. And then I'll work on the pumpkin, and then move on to the scarecrow, and move on to the ghost, and move on to the haunted house, and so on and so forth. This is just the smaller, extremely smaller, and cheaper version of 6 portals, even though there's only 4. So, that's that one. And this is a great one to work on. It really is. And I didn't get the information I wanted to get for this one, but this is Gothic Authors, and I finished the Anne Radcliffe block, or section. This is from Lola Crow. So I finished up this section here. I finished doing the middle, and I got some of the bottom done. And then I started working on Poe. And I got 200 stitches on this. I started this, restarted it on July 15th, 2025. Stitching on an 18 count fussel from Forbidden Fiber Company. It was a fabric of the month. And I'm using the called for DMC. Now my goal is 2,500. Now, to complete it, it's going to be 5,545. And I have completed 2,380 stitches. So I'm almost at my goal. And I have it 42.92%. And then I am almost halfway done. Let's bring this down. There we go. So I'm working on the bust of Edgar Allan Poe. I've gotten the bust of Anne Radcliffe done. And when I'm going to work on this again. I'm working on it at least once a week until it's done. So when I work on this again, I'll make sure and figure out what book this is from. I think it's from her first one. Because her first one was about a lady. So, and I'm under the assumption that it's a lady. Oh. Let's see. She wasn't I don't think she was very popular because she was an unknown. And the reason that she was unknown was due to the time or the era that she was born into. Women had very little value. And they weren't supposed to be authors, they weren't supposed to be anything but housewives and conduits for their husband's sperm. So, like I said, I'm feeling very negative. If you'll hold on 1 second, I gotta fix the light in here. I'm back. Sorry about that. The screen was doing some funky things that I didn't like. So, alright, the next one I worked on. I'm very proud that I worked on this one. I don't have a picture for this one right at the moment. But this was from my wrestling roundup. Now, I still have a bunch to go. So since I don't have any Spooky Bingo next week, I'm going to work on some of these. But anyway, it was Dusty Rhodes was the wrestler, which was 300 stitches. And then he did the pedigree, which was Triple H's finishing move. And that was after Dusty's time in the WWE. And that was 300. So for 3 cheers, I got 600 stitches. And that was amazing. Here it is. I finished okay, I finished this row here, and then I did the 4 boxes in the next row. So there were 2 boxes left in this row. This row here. And then there were 4 boxes left in this row. So that gave you my 600. I'm loving it. It's coming out awesome. And it's very few colors. Unfortunately, this is not on Etsy anymore. But you can find, if you like My Chemical Romance, I'm pretty sure you can find something. This is the album cover for a My Chemical Romance album. I'm not quite sure which one it is because I don't listen to that. It's just me. My daughter does, so that's for my daughter. Now, I started 3 cheers on May 28th, 2024. It doesn't sound right. I want to say it's the 2023. I'm stitching it on a 16 count easy guide, and I'm using the code for DMC. My goal is 5,000, and at this point I've completed 2,400 stitches. There's actually 10,000 stitches in here because it's 100 by 100. So this one, I hope to get out more. We'll see. Because I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel with that one. Ooh. Yeah. And when I start to see the light, then it's like, ooh. Maybe I'll turn this into a focus. Some sort of focus. Okay. And then the next thing I worked on, yes, I worked on the Halloween sampler. And this was, I worked on this on Sunday, I believe. This is the Halloween sampler, and it is from Untwisted Stitches on Etsy. And I got 200 stitches for this. This was for a this was spun for my spooky bingo. This is the Halloween sampler by Untwisted Stitches. I started this on August 7th, 2025. I'm stitching it on a 14 count Lavender Whisper Ada using the called for DMC. Now where this is a paper pattern, my goal is 2,000. So out of that 2,000, I have 1,587 left. And I am at 413 stitches complete. And what I did was I worked on the boxes. And this one right here has candy corn. This one right here has tombstones. This one right here has a cauldron, witch's hat, and then a ghost with the boo in different shades of green. So this is as long as it is, and there's one more box over here that probably doesn't make it very wide. So it's not a very big sampler, but it's cute. And I enjoy working on 14, 16, 18 count. I'm not just one particular count. Usually it's 18. At first when I started stitching again, I was just doing 14 because that's all I had. And then when I started watching FlossTube and found out about overdyes and this, that, and the other thing, I was hooked. Literally hooked. So this is the Halloween sampler. Now, what else did I work on? I worked on... Nope. Just making sure that... Okay. Let's go back here then. Ah, here it is. I worked on the October marigolds. Nope, that's December. This is from Cottage Garden Samplings, and I'm going to work on this one more time before the end of the month. I got 223 stitches complete. This was just a sweetie, something I wanted to work on because it was October. And I started this on September 28th, 2025. I'm using an 18 count pumpkin patch. I'm using the called for DMC except for the letters. On the letters, I'm using the Great Pumpkin from Dying for Sass. And my goal is 2,000 stitches. And so far, I've completed 690 of those, that 2,000. It's not a very big piece. It's wide enough and hopefully long enough. And here we are. So I finished Magic Night when pumpkins, and I started the G for glow. And then I started working on the border. I want to haul this out one more time before the end of the month. So next week I'll probably haul it out again. And then I'm gonna start November. If I can find it. No, it's in here. Somewhere. It's March. Is it? Yes, this is November's chrysanthemum. I can't even say it. Oh my god. Chrysanthemum. This is the next on the line. This is also on my November bingo, but I'm going to work on it throughout the month. And I'm going to be using a jade ornament. Okay, there's that one. And then, for Wrestling Roundup, I worked on Dobby. Where are you, Dobby? Is this you? Yes, I think so. And Dobby, yes, it is Dobby. Dobby was, John Cena was the wrestler, and that was 100 stitches. His finishing move was Go to Sleep, which was 300 stitches. And so that I got 400 stitches on Dobby. So this is Dobby by JustinCrossStitch. I started this on April 4th, 2025. I'm using a 20 count easy guide, and I'm using all the called for floss because there are blends, and that's why I'm doing 2/1 on 20 count, which is kind of on the tight side, but it's working. My goal for this was 5,000. Now, the total amount of stitches in this is 53,200. And I have completed exactly 2,000 stitches, and I am at 3.76%. And I do believe this is coming out, this is one of my weekly focuses, I think. I'm not quite sure. For November. Alright. This Dobby is a house elf from Harry Potter. And he's kind of weird looking. I think I've changed up my ideas for my weekend. Starting in about 2 hours. Because it's almost 10 o'clock my time. We will be in the Witches, Warlocks, and Weird weekend. Starts at noontime today and ends at noon on Monday. And if you're planning on joining me, please do. Just thank you so much if you do. I know there's a couple people joining me. I think Claudia is joining me, and I think Griffin Stitcher is joining me. Lucy is joining me. Sally wanted to, but she's got some family obligations she needs to do this weekend, which I fully understand. So I think we're going to be doing a stitch along, which will be fun. And here's how much I got done. So what did I do? I finished up this one, and I worked on these 3. And it was rough getting through this because it's background, and the background takes forever. It really does. So I think I'm going to get to a place where I can start putting different, I mean, it's just different shades of gray, but I'd much rather do different shades of gray than one. Yeah. So we'll see. So that was for Wrestling Roundup, and I got exactly 400 stitches. Well, when you're doing a 100 stitch block 4 times, yeah, you get exactly. Oh, that's me. It's just me being foolish. Then I spun and I got Halloween Quaker. That's the pumpkin. I think this is it. Yes. And this is the one that I restarted. This is what it looks like when it's all done. And I restarted this Halloween Quaker from Lila Studios on September 23rd, 2025. I'm stitching it on a 20 count pumpkin 8A that I got from Fabric on a Whim. No. Yes. Fabric on a Whim? I think that's the name of the company. And I'm using the called for specialty flosses. And my goal for this is 3,000. And out of that 3,000, I have completed, 474. And I'm doing this 1/1. And I did 214 stitches on this. And I usually don't leave threads hanging, but this motif is huge, as you can see. I got all 200 stitches in that one motif. So I'm thinking about ways that I can bring certain things out more, so I can get more work on them. If I'm doing themed bingos, then, you know, it's very hard to get, you know, Halloween's out, unless I do like Laura Stitching by the Shore, her I Spy. I did not do it this month. But hers are kind of themed too, a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So I'll think of something. Maybe I'll just have a focus on Halloween weekend. You know, I kind of like my theme weekends, so I'm not really giving them up. I know I was supposed to do a bunch of stitch along or stitch with me's, but I just don't have this set up right now. And until I get that set up, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'll think of something. Alright, the next one that I worked on, and I was very upset about this one. No, not really. But I did order some specialty floss. I did order some swamp water from 123 Stitch. Unfortunately, there were 2 flosses that they did not send with that order. I got in touch with whomever via email, and she was very nice. She was very understanding, and she's sending me the 2 flosses that were not in my order, which I really appreciate. Okay. Where'd it go? Here is my picture. There it is. This is from Teresa Kogut. And this is called Such a Fright. This was my focus week last week. No. Yes. My focus for last week. And I got so tired of it by the end of the week that I was ready just to throw it. I really was. And then, to spin it, for, you know, that's alright. It's okay. I dealt very well. I started this on August 24th, 2023, and this was a monochromatic May stitch this past May. And I'm doing it on a 16 count Ember. And I'm using Weeks Dye Works Swamp Water. And my goal is 4,000. And out of that 4,000, I have completed 3,064 stitches. I got 222 completed. It's not a very big one, thank goodness. It was supposed to be done on 36 count, but yeah, I don't do linen. So here it is. I worked on the A. I finished up this one, and I got a bat in. And I'm not going to work on this again until I have the floss in my hand, because I just, I don't know. I'm thinking about possibly doing a letter a month, and I have those little, you know, Scrabble tiles, and picking, you know, one Scrabble tile, and that would be the letter for that month, and pick as many, or as, if you just want to do one, or you can do 5 that begin with that letter. So say I picked a letter B, and you have, you know, like Bony Bunch, or you have something that starts with the letter B. Like I have Beware of Dog, which was a Night Spirit Studios Patreon. And you work, you know, you do maybe 400 stitches on that for the month. So say you do 100 stitches a week, or if you have more than one that you want to do, you do 200, you know, you do the whole 400 a week. Say you have 4 that start with B. So one of them happens to be Beware of Dog, like mine. So that would be, you know, say you want to do 400 stitches. You pick the stitch count. With mine, generally what I do is I do 200 stitches per. Because 200 seems to be the number for me. And that's why I like doing it that way. So, yeah. So there's that one. I'm not quite sure about that idea yet. I'm thinking about it. I was watching Siski this morning, and she was doing this. She had put a lot of her whips in or most of her whips, or all of them, I'm not quite sure which, into categories. And then she took an idea she got from like a kindergarten teacher, I think, or first grade, something like that. And so she makes potions. So say she has, all the categories have a symbol. So if she does like a sleep spell, so to speak, and it has like 3 symbols, and then she gets a whip that's in the category of those that has that symbol, and then say it takes 200 stitches to brew. She does 200 stitches on all 3 of those whips. I think that's a wonderful idea. It's not something I would want to do, but I think she did an awesome job. I think she might actually stick with this one. Everything else she's had a hard time sticking with, and I can see why, because they were so complicated. I just want it straightforward and easy, you know, so that's why I'm, you know, doing the bingo cards. I know they have a Whip Go game, but I did that for a little while, and it worked for me for a little bit, but then I got bored with it. And unfortunately, once I get bored with it, I don't want to do it anymore. So, okay. Now, the next thing I worked on, I gotta put it in here, right? Yes. Was the, my Hare and Pumpkin. Or Hare and Pumpkin. And I'm doing this for Laura's pumpkin birthday sale. I'm actually doing 2. But I did work on this one. And I only did 106 stitches because I had some things I needed to do that day that were not, you know, non-negotiable. I had to go. I had to leave. So, on the Hare and Pumpkins, this is from Wanderling Stitches. I started this on October 7th, 2025. I'm doing it on an 18 count taupe of the morning, and I'm using the DMC, except I replaced 853 with the DMC variant 4124. This is a paper pattern. So basically it's a finish. But I did put a small goal on it, which was 2,500. And out of that 2,500, I have completed 409 stitches. And I plan on getting this out again. And here is my little... So what did I work on, you ask? Well, I got some of the leaves in. Down here, I got some of the vines in. And I worked on 2 of the pumpkins, which are this and this. And what I believe I need to do is this color here is the back stitch for the darker colors. And then the darker color are the back stitch for these ones. Sorry, my tongue and my teeth are not getting along today, I guess. So this one I'm going to work on again. And I might also work on my Quirky Quaker Witch's hat, because it's Witches, Warlocks, and Weird Weekend. So I know I did an extra and there were some things I put on there. I'm still going to work on some of them, but I'm also probably just going to do a sweewee as well. So I got 106 stitches done on that one. Okay. And then, oh my god, I had such a good time with this one. I spun for my Frankenstein gnome. I was like, yay! And I thought I made a mistake. Well, by looking at it, I don't think I did. So I did think I made a mistake. And I had such a good time with this one. You know, I got 210 stitches complete on it, which made me very happy. I really enjoyed working on this one, and you know how I love my gnomes? You know how I absolutely love my gnomes, and I'm gonna put a few of them on my December, and I have 2 of them on my November, which makes me very, very happy. Okay, where are you? Stop hiding from me. Oh, there you are. This is my Frankenstein gnome, and now I know why the orange came in. Yes, I do. Here he is. Isn't he cute? He's so cute. All that green. I love him. He's very cute. And I was wondering where the orange came from. So now I know. It's for the pumpkin. Okay. Now, Frankenstein gnome is my favorite gnome, or cute border. I started this on June 16th, 2025. This was after my gnome frenzy. I'm stitching on an 18 count haunted, which I didn't realize how hard it was to see the holes, but that's okay. And I'm using the called for DMC. Now, my goal is 2,500 stitches, and this has 4,075 stitches. And out of that 4,075 stitches, I have completed 350. And I am at 8.59%. So, now I know where the orange goes, because I'm working on the pumpkin right here, and this is his hand. And then you see his bolt. And this is a really cool fabric if the colors were a little bit lighter, but that's okay. I'm good with it. I like it. So, yes. Yeah. Okay. So, here is that. I'm going to keep him in my box. Alright. So I get 210 on that, and that was spun for the Spooky Bingo. Now, Gothic Queen. Gothic Queen of Hearts from Celtic Rose Stitches. This was a wrestling roundup, so I didn't get it finished yet because I noticed that I need to fix something. But I'm almost finished with my goal for that. Now, here's what it looks like. This is Gothic Queen of Hearts by Celtic Rose. Well, it says Celtic Rose Needlecraft, but the shop on Etsy is Celtic Rose Cross Stitch. She's beautiful. She's a big girl. This was Kane was the wrestler, which was 100 stitches. The Razor's Edge, which I'm pretty sure he could do because he was a big guy, was the finishing move for 300. So Gothic Queen of Hearts was supposed to get 400. I only completed 366. But that's okay. I will finish my 400. This I started on June 19th, 2025. I'm doing a 20 count easy guide 2/1. But it looks really good though. I'm using the called for DMC, and my goal is 5,000 stitches. Now, to complete this, I need 113 stitches, 113 stitches, 230. That sounded so wrong. 113 stitches, 230. Yeah, it still sounds wrong. But anyway, I've gotten 1,608 stitches completed. And I want to get more. Because this is a big girl, like I said. I mean, this is how big she is. And this is on 20 count. Can you imagine if I put it on 18 or 14? But there I am. I'm working on the queue. But look at how nice and straight those stitches are. I am very proud of myself for this one. I'm becoming a very big fan of Celtic Rose Cross Stitch. I am becoming a really big fan of Zena Crossbow and Stitches. I was on Thread Geeks, but then I heard some crap this morning. I don't know if I'm going to go back and get anything on my wish list or not. I might, just because they have one I really, really want. So that was for the wrestling roundup. Now, my weekly focus. Where is it? Okay. I could not find what I was looking for, which was the Halloween bat. I need to look for that. Okay. And that was by Celtic Rose Cross Stitch. So, on the fly, I changed things around a little bit. And I hadn't worked on this for a while. So, Autumn Lane Stitchery, Smell My Feet. So, I already had 200 stitches done on this. There's my little card here. Where are you? I know I put it back in here. Oh, there it is. So, I already had 215 complete. Okay. So this is Smell My Feet by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I started this on October 1st because it was the first thing spun for my Stitchy Bingo. And I'm using a 16 count cauldron by Pictures Plus. And I'm using the called for DMC. Now my goal is 2,000, but basically where's the paper pattern, you know, I'm just going to finish it eventually. But having these little goals helps me. So after working on it for a week, I completed 1,030 stitches. And I have a grand total of 1,245 stitches complete out of that 2,000 stitch goal. And I finished this up this morning. It took me all week. I kid you not. It took me all week just to fill in Chick. Or do that one block. And I haven't even done the back stitch on it yet. So now I'm starting Smell My Feet. And the letters are yellow, no, white, my all-time favorite color to stitch with, and a extremely dark purple to give it that shadow look. And then right down here is going to be her shoes, and this is the smell that's coming from her shoes, which obviously is terrible. So that was 1,000 stitches that I probably wouldn't have gotten if I had found the one that I actually was supposed to do. So I'm kind of glad. You know, I'm glad every once in a while I kind of lose track of something so I can haul something else out. Okay, and that is everything I stitched this week, which was quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 stitches. Which was actually pretty good for me. Now, as you know, I did an extra on Tuesday, which was the oh, yes, right here. The Witches, Warlocks, and Weird, and these are the ones that I chose. Now, I'm thinking about changing it up a little bit. Okay, so where's my eraser? All right. Hanging out for Halloween, I'm going to keep because I love that little bag. Since I'm doing also Creepy Cup of Cozy, which is a gnome, and gnomes are kind of weird, but they're cute. Creepy. I'm going to try to get 400 stitches on him as well. Now, today, I spun number 13. I only have 2 more bingos to go. I have today and tomorrow. Number 13 is Frank's Monster. So since I have it out for today anyway, I think I'm going to try to get that an extra 100. No. I want to make it 1,000. I have 1,000 stitches on it, so I would need an extra 300. Plus the 200. That would make it 5. The other thing I would like to work on is I think I'm going to work on Smell My Feet for an extra day. And get another 200. So that should bring me up to 1,400 stitches. Because that's witches. And then, I don't want to really do any new starts right now. I have a couple planned, but I really don't want to do any right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Goth Girls, Bellatrix, because she was in Harry Potter, she was a Death Eater, she was also a witch. So we're going to do another 200 on that one. Or more if I decide to. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and then my last you know what? I think I'm going to work on the Frankenstein gnome. And I think what I'm going to try to do is get 400 on him. So that's 12. 1,900 stitches for 4 days. Let's see. If I get it done, awesome. If I don't, I don't. You know? I'm not gonna kill myself trying to get stuff done. The one for tomorrow, the last spooky bingo, is the Halloween cup, which means I need to find that. But oh well. And then next week I'm gonna try to, because I know I need to finish up Jake Roberts. I need to finish Kane, and then Drew McIntyre is the wrestler. Riptide is the finishing move, and Fox in the Forest needs 400 stitches. I'm not sure about the Hulk Hogan one. And then we have Randy Orton, figure 8, Spring Awakens. So that would be 300 stitches on Spring Awakens. Diesel is 200, Curb Stomp is 100, that's 300 stitches on Soft Wookie. And then Triple H is 200, Flying Elbow is 200, and that would be 400 stitches on Miss Bugatti's house and the Flamingo. So, put the heat on, because it's been rather chilly here. So, these ones right here are the ones that I am going to be working on. Not only for today, but one of them for this weekend, and one of them is my focus for next week. So, the focus for my weekend is My Creepy Cup of Cozy by Lila Crossbow. And I'm doing this 1/1 on 25 count, I believe. Yes. I started this on August 29th, 2025, and I'm doing it on a 25 count easy guide 1/1. I'm using the call for DMC. My goal is 5,000 stitches. To complete it, it would be 90,000. So, and I only have completed 700. And I am not even at 1% yet. I'm at 0.78. But this is how far I am. And when I have a box complete, whatever thread I have left over goes hanging. So this one here will be for this box here. And I'm going down this way. For the moment, I might change. I don't know. We'll see. So, we'll see how much I get done on that. I'm supposed to get, what, 400 stitches? Actually, maybe I'll just get 3, because that'll bring it to an even 1,000. Let's see. I don't know. We'll see how much I get done. So, we'll put you in there. Now, the one I'm working on for next week, from Monday to Friday. Ooh, mangled my card. This is Silhouettes by Teresa Kogut. And this will be what it looks like when it's complete. This one and I have a tenuous relationship. I want to say. we had a few hiccups, but I think we're, we're working it out. Well, yeah. So I'm doing this on an 18 count Cyprium. I'm using 3799, DMC 3799, and DMC 14. And here's my starting point. Now, I put a 3,000 goal on this one. And out of that 3,000, I have 1,137 completed. At least when I started counting, because I started this one on July 30th, 2023. So I'm working on the witch up here. And the only green of her is the socks, as far as I can tell. So, yeah. So I think once I get the witch done, I'm going to go across this way, and then work my way down across. I don't know yet. But here it is. It's very cute. I mean, I love it, but it's just our tenuous relationship we have, which isn't exactly pleasant. But we'll see how much I get done. Because it'll be 200 stitches a day for 5 days, so I'm hoping there'll be at least 1,000 stitches completed when everything's all said and done. And then, since I have on my bingos, the bingo cards that I've made out, and I'm only doing the bingo till the end of the year. If I still like it in January, I will continue. But the thing I like about it, especially doing the weekly, a week, and doing 200 stitches a day on that one whip for 5 days, is actually helping me get a lot of progress. It may only be 1,000 stitches, but I'm good with it, And then doing the bingo, it changes every day. It's not the same two for a month. And I think that's one of the problems that I was having with the whip go. But 2026 for me, and hopefully a friend of mine, is going to be the year of the gnome. Okay, so I'm going to call it Gnome Go, which is going to have 25 gnomes on a bingo card. And if 13 comes up, then you can do 2 gnomes for 12 months, and number 13 can be your free space, or you can put another gnome in that you really want to get done. Doesn't matter if they're new starts, doesn't matter if they're whips, and it's a whip. Doesn't matter if they're close to a finish. If they're close to the finish, awesome. So I'm going to put 2 numbers for the month, and those will be the gnome calls. So if you like gnomes, I do. Please feel free to join me. Not, I get it. There's a lot to stitch, and not everybody loves gnomes like I do. Alright, this is Frank's Monster. This is number 13 on any and all bingo cards for the month. So, for November, it's number 13. For December, it's number 13. If I continue in January, it'll be number 13 on whatever theme I pick. And this is by the Art Revivalist, and it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful. It's 250 by 250, and I'm doing it 1/1 on a 25 count. Now, I started this one, on October 15th, 2025. And I'm stitching it on an easy guide, 25 count easy guide 1/1, and I'm using the call for DMC. My goal is 5,000 stitches. Now, to finish this, I need 62,500 stitches. Well, out of that, I've completed 500 stitches, so I only have 62,000 left. And I'm not even at 1%. I'm at 0.80. So here is my starting point. And when I looked at this, I'm like, oh my god, it's going to be all black. No, I was wrong. It's all blues. We're talking dark blues. We're talking light blues. We're talking all sorts of blue. And I've even got my Oogie Boogie needle minder. And there it is. Believe it or not, that's 500 stitches. And I have some filling in I need to do. Because I got 6 blocks going. And only one of them is filled in. So, but yeah. So I will also work on this weekend. So while I have this out, I need 200 stitches for my Stitchy Bingo, and then I need another 3 to make it 5,500, so I get 1,000 stitches on this. And maybe that'll bring me up to at least 1%. I don't know. But we shall see. So, I did not bring my stash in, but it was mostly fabric. I will bring it in next week because I'm not using it right at the moment, because I'm not starting anything new. I thought about starting a couple new things for this weekend, but I changed my mind real quick because they were both full coverages. And I'm like, can I at least get one to a certain amount? Because I got so frustrated with that Cute Ghosts because I screwed up. It was human error, my human error. And I feel like a failure enough most of the time. I don't need to feel like a failure on my own channel. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that part off, chuck it, and then start on a 25 count and do 1/1. That's a lot of doing 9 through 9 again, but I like it. I want to do it. I'm not going to restart it right away. I'll do it whenever I feel like it. But I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So, you know my plans. I want to go for my weekend and see what I can get done. And then I want to work on my wrestling wagon. Now, next week, well, Friday's Halloween, so it's the last day of the month. So, next week, I am going to do a November Plans Extra. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the things that I'm doing for the weekly stitching and for my bingo, get those together, and then I'll show you everything. The weekends that I do are usually kind of, I think about it for a while and then I'll finally do an extra about what I want to do. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do that this time around or not. I do know that next month the 30th is on a Sunday, and so I might do an extra then for my December stuff. I don't have my full December bingo card filled out yet, but I do know a couple things that I am starting. And we'll get to that when it's time. But there are a couple things that I want to start. So, and I might do some voting to pick out some of the ones that'll go on the bingo card. So, I don't know. We'll see. And then in December, I want to do a whip parade and a plans video for 2026. So, we might be doing, we'll definitely be doing those two. And if you want to join me for any of my plans, if you have something that you want to start and I have it, or even if I don't have it, I can get something like it. I might have something like it. And you want to do like a stitch along, let me know. I will be more than happy to join in. So I did watch Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, this morning. She has some lovely stuff that she is doing. All hers are pretty big girls. And I also watched the Crow Stitchers back. Welcome back, Andy. For how long, I don't know. I just, it's good to see her. You know, it's very good to see her. But other than that, I haven't found anybody new. I need to get caught up on a couple. But other than that, I'm just taking it one day at a time. And I do apologize for my attitude. Like I said, I had a really bad counseling appointment yesterday. I went somewhere I didn't want to go. But she drew it out. And I haven't even told my husband some of this stuff. Because it's just not worth it. I don't want to I feel like I have, you know, a whole bunch of weight right here. And I can't get rid of it. And I want the weight to go away, because then maybe I can finally breathe. But that's that. I did go to the Witches Market on Sunday. I went with my husband and my daughter and her boyfriend, and I was a little mad at first because I don't ask people to do things very often, and when they're late I get a little upset. So he was late. He was very late, but water under the bridge. We went. It was very crowded. Most of the stuff was witchy themed. Like the witch hats, the cauldrons. One lady made a whole bunch of soap. Some of the soap had those little rubber ducks in them. It was really cute. I got a hair scrunchie for my stepdaughter. And I got a pin that my husband's going to take the backs off, and then I can turn it into a needle minder. In the town hall of Dover, because it was in Dover, New Hampshire, I went, and they had people in this one room doing like tarot readings, palm read, whatever. I went in and went out just as fast as I went in, because I couldn't, those people I couldn't circumvent as easy as I could on the ones on the street. So, Colin bought his mother a pair of earrings, which I thought was sweet. I bought my daughter a Mountain Dew Baja Blast bumper sticker, and that was about it. I didn't get to see as much as I wanted to because it was so crowded, but that's okay. We thought about going into the pizza restaurant next to the town hall, but once I saw the line, I'm like, nope. So at that point, we left, and we went and had a very late lunch, early dinner at Applebee's, the four of us, which was fun. So, other than that is my life. And like I said, again, thank you so much for everybody who has liked and subscribed, and you have just made me extremely happy. And those of you who come back week after week Those of you who do comment, I thank you very much. So, have a wonderful week, and I'll see everybody on Friday. And keep on stitching on, everybody.